It's time to talk Toy Fair 2022. Good Lord, I don't have a beverage. Now this feels right. You gotta love the magic of editing and the magic of microwaves to make this water really hot for the green tea. I get geeked about it. Anywho, I'm Photo Dave, and this is Toypixx. And whether this is your first or 100th time on the channel, Toypixx is all about helping you and helping me get better at our action figure photography. So I'll be talking about all kinds of stuff that entails, from action figures, trends in the industry, what people are talking about in the industry, to photography, tips and tutorials, equipment, as far as all that's concerned, Photoshop, editing, all kinds of that kind of stuff to help us all get better at our photography. So, if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And let's get to today's chat. Today's topic is, well, I guess I talked about it in the intro. It's kind of the unofficial Toy Fair 2022 time. And rather than go through everything, you guys know there are plenty of channels that nail that kind of coverage. I can't do it. I never envisioned Toypixx as a news channel or anything like that. So go check out everybody else that covers this stuff really well. Don't worry, there's no shortage of them. They're great. But check them out for the real hardcore news. For this, I'm just going to take a look at what caught my eye. Now, some of this stuff caught my eye and I'll never get it because maybe it's a scale I don't collect. This is why maybe the rules are an important thing, because there's a lot of very cool stuff at all different sizes out there. And if I didn't have those rules, oh, the wallet, it would kill me and then jump off the roof. I don't know. It's just not a good situation without those rules for me. So let's get chatting, shall we? So that we can find out what it is that caught my eye, and maybe it caught your eye too. Now, before we get heavy into the list, I want to bring up today's Marvel Legends live stream and the thing that caught my eye there. I loved watching Dwight show off the ratchet joints in Galactus, just because Sentinel had problems last year with its knee joints and everything, and Dwight's just sitting there going, like everything he did to this thing, it sounded like it was just cracking all the way through. It cracked me up. It was funny. It was kind of like him reassuring us that Galactus is going to be okay, guys. And also like him saying, hey, guys, you want to all be #1 together? It was just funny, and it was a way only Dwight could pull off, and it cracked me up. Okay, on to the next stuff. Okay, these first group of figures here are things that aren't going to make it into my collection. That doesn't mean I think they suck. They just don't fit in for whatever reason, but I still look at them and think they're pretty cool. So the first one is Atticus Doom. Now, I have a full-on hate relationship with the Rumble Society from Mezco. Every time it seems a licensed figure is pushed back, 2 or 3 Rumble Society figures get pushed in front of it. And I get it. I get that those Rumble Society figures help make the licensed figures more possible. They make Mezco more money, all that stuff. I just wish, with 2 years down in this pandemic, that Mezco would start being a little more realistic with their release dates. Just be upfront about it. And some people say, well, you know, maybe they went back and fixed this because somebody didn't approve something. And you just sit there and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, because in business, you don't show the public your stuff unless it's been totally approved. So, I don't know. There's all kinds of things. But anyway, total hate relationship with Rumble Society. But that said, Cthulhu styling. Like when you look at H.P. Lovecraft type stuff, that styling is always pretty appealing. And Atticus has that going in spades. The guy looks crazy, crazy creepy. And if I didn't have a full on hate relationship with the Rumble Society, I might consider it. The next thing that caught my eye is the Mesco Batman. Now, it's the Robert Pattinson version, and I don't really do multimedia type or, I guess, movie type stuff, not a lot of cartoon type stuff, depending. There's all kinds of exceptions, but overall, I don't do movie stuff. Just don't really care for the look so much on the shelf. But I will say, if you're comparing this Mezco Batman to, say, what McFarlane has shown so far in the multiverse line, this one obviously is going to be a little smaller just because he's 1/12th and McFarlane's scale is closer to 1/10th, but he does look less stiff. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. And when you look at the head sculpt, when you see just that little bit of the side profile, I think it looks really good. Plus, he looks like he's looking straight ahead. Also good. But yeah, he caught my eye, and really all it did was just get me more hyped up for the Batman movie. I'm pretty excited to see that, and I think the people that dig it will really enjoy that figure when it comes out in 2038. Next up is the Mesco Spider-Man, and kind of in the background, a slight tease for the Mesco Green Goblin. Now, the Green Goblin, maybe, I don't know. They don't look great to me cloth-wise. It looks kind of, I don't know, it almost looks like it's wearing pajamas, maybe? I'm not sure. Spider-Man, I think, looks better than the Green Goblin does. The problem is when you put cloth goods over these figures, for me anyway, with a character like Spider-Man, you want him to be able to get into crazy poses. And again, I don't have a Mesco figure yet, so I don't know what their articulation's like without all the cloth goods. And I imagine it really can only be hindered by the cloth goods. So I have a Mafex Symbiote Spider-Man coming at the end of the year, theoretically. That's right, everything's running so far behind. And so he'll be able to do a lot more, I think, than the Spider-Man from Mesco. And for me, that's what I want out of my figures, is I want him to move like the character should move. So that Spider-Man's a no, but I'm not saying he doesn't look good. I think he looks really good. The Green Goblin, on the other hand, he does just look like he's wearing pajamas and a really big purple nightcap. Yeah. Another one I noticed and thought it looked pretty sweet. Honestly, I've thought that all of these look good. I'm just not a Universal Monsters guy. Is the Mikey Mummy from Neca. Michelangelo, folks, that is the best turtle. Fight me. But that mummy figure looks incredible. It just looks hilarious. It's too big for my collection, like the 7-inch size, the 1/10th scale. That just doesn't really work for my collection, unfortunately. Again, it's a way to keep the spending, keep the wallet from, cutting my throat or anything like that. So, yeah, I would possibly get this monster just because Mikey's my favorite, and it does look pretty sweet. I really like the mummy head where it just looks like he's got the chapped lips and everything. But then a lot of people have brought up the fact that his other face also looks like what I think was maybe a costume from one of the Turtle movies way back when that's deteriorated like mad. Could be wrong, but either way, I've seen the pictures, and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the face of Mikey going, yep, I can see that definitely being a slight inspiration for that turtle. Cowabunga and stuff. The next thing that caught my eye, and I have zero connection to the property. I just wasn't a horror kid growing up, but it's the dog creature from The Thing. That dude looks wicked. That just looks cool. You got like the big dinosaur skull in there looking deal. I know it's a dog skull, but it looks like a dinosaur. I guess all animals really with a snout look like dinosaurs now to me. Very strange. But yeah, it just looks so cool and looks like jumping out of bloodiness. I don't know. I mean, I know it's a prototype right now and everything, and I know that I have no connection to the movie whatsoever, but I just think this thing looks so cool. And if I had tons more disposable income, didn't have to stay busy making money and all that stuff, I would probably get this thing. It just looks that cool. I'm not the guy yet that's just going to buy something because it looks cool. It needs to be cool and I have to have a connection to it and all that stuff. But if I were that guy, I would definitely be picking up that dog creature. And now it's time for the maybes in my collection. Things I noticed I thought, that might work out, depending on a few factors. But before I get into those, don't forget to stick around till the end of the video, because today's picture has all kinds of craziness. It was a nutty crossover with some characters that you just don't want to throw down with. And you'll probably know all their names. It was a blast to shoot. So yeah, stay to the end of the video. See today's pick. Anywho, on to the first maybe. So the first maybe is the Mezco Robin. Now, I want to say up front here, I think it looks incredible. I don't have any problem with it being Damian Wayne. I think he's a good character. No worries whatsoever, and I think the figure looks great. The thing that's keeping it firmly in the maybe territory is that a lot of people are speculating that it's based on the teenage body that they used for, I think, some of the MCU Spider-Man figures and the Doc Nocturnal. So I made sure to check out The Amazing's videos on those. And if that's true, and this Robin is that size, he's not a 1/12 scale figure. He's more like a 1/10 or 1/9 scale figure. And he's just too big for my collection. Now, if they took that body and they downsized it some and made him so he's maybe a couple heads shorter than Batman and all that, then he's definitely getting purchased, because I think that Robin looks absolutely killer. But the fact is, as killer as I think he looks, the rules are there for a reason. And at this point, I have to abide by them. And I have to be picky about what I truly want in my collection, and I don't want a Robin that's only half an inch shorter than Batman. I'm going to pair these next two together, and I think you'll understand why. They're the Mezco Snake Eyes and the Mezco Storm Shadow. I have no doubt that they're going to look incredible. No doubt whatsoever. But here's the thing. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about Spider-Man. They're not going to be able to do the same ninja things that the Hasbro versions can do. And I had somebody bring up, but didn't you see all the parts on Destro, all the extra Mezco stuff on Destro? And I thought, I did. And they look sweet. Nothing against them. I think he looks great. But I also think the Destro that Hasbro did was pretty stellar stuff. Normally, I'd be all in on the hands and the extra heads and all that stuff, but the G.I. Joe team at Hasbro is just killing it. So seeing Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow again, especially when the Hasbro Pulse Snake Eyes is my favorite G.I. Joe classified figures, and probably one of my top 5 figures, top 10 figures, I don't know. He's in the list somewhere in my whole collection. I don't see Mezco topping him. So when it comes to Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, it will come down to the accessories. If I see something and I'm just like, wow, okay, I need these guys, it won't be based on the figures. It'll be based on what they come with. And if they come with the right stuff, yeah, I'll pull the trigger. Now here's a maybe that is based entirely, just like Robin, on how tall the character ends up being, and that would be Neca's The Last Ronin from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I think that figure looks incredible, and I'm not somebody that has ever bought a Neca toy. I've had the Mirage Studios knockoffs, but they felt kind of fragile. I broke a sword, ended up getting rid of them, all that. Just didn't really want them anymore. So right now, I have 0 Neca in my collection, and when I saw this thing, I thought, I need that. But then I start looking at pictures, and it's possible that he's going to be more in scale with, say, the movie Turtles than he is with more of the cartoon and the comic type figures. And if he's in scale with the comic type figures, I'm all in. I love that figure. I will love anything they put out that's related to it. I just think it looks incredible. But if he's closer to being scaled to the movie Turtles, I'm out, sadly. So yeah, this is a maybe that is entirely based on size. Yeah, who knew? Size matters. And now we've got Neca Rennet. Spoiler alert, my very favorite reveals of this past kind of weekend reveals, toy fair stuff, were the Mirage Studios turtle figures. I'm going to go nuts on that line, but the reason that Rennet is a maybe is because she's not colored the way that she should be colored for her appearances in the comics. She should be blue and gold, not so much red. And I understand what they were going for with the covers, with IDW doing some recolors and all that stuff. And I even understand that chances are in the future they'll simply repaint this into the blue and gold Rennet. So it's not a big deal. That's why she's a maybe. I probably honestly won't get her, just hoping that the other one comes up. But I'm also not super attached to Rennet as a character, so everybody's like, oh, but if you don't get this one, you might not get the real one. And frankly, I'm done playing that game. If I don't get the real one, that's fine. I won't have her rented on my shelf. No big deal, but still, she looks good. I just wish they'd released the correct one first. Next up in the maybe column, the Archie Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Neca. Neca killed it. Again, I'm somebody that has 0 Neca figures, and I'm watching this whole weekend going, what's Neca got coming up? What's Neca got coming up? I want to see more of what Neca has to say. So yeah, what I didn't know, I feel like I'm trying to be this ultra snob with my Mirage Studios type stuff, like when I was talking about, well, Rennett's the wrong color and all this. The fact is, I don't know that I ever read an original Mirage Studios Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book. I'm just not sure I did. I like those designs a lot more than what I saw on TV and, other media. I like them more. I did like the Turtles in the movie, in the first Turtles movie, no doubt. But I just like this down and dirty and grungy and grimy look of the Mirage Studios Turtles. I thought those looked just really cool. So, Mirage Studios, I was like, yeah, I'm all in. But what I didn't know is so many characters that we all grew up with never appeared in Mirage Comics, or it doesn't look like they necessarily appeared in Mirage Comics, but they did show up in Archie Comics. So you got Ray Fillet and Slash. Maybe they showed up in Mirage, I don't know, but I do know they showed up in Archie, and that's what Neca was talking about. The Mutanimals. I have no idea who those are. So they're definitely maybes just because I have no idea who they are. They look cool, but Ray Fillet looks awesome. Slash looks awesome. So I don't know. I'm probably going to end up leaning more towards yes and being a little more picky and choosy in the Archie side of things. But what really shocked me was seeing that the first comic appearance, anyway, of Bebop and Rocksteady looks to have been in Archie Comics. And those are like characters that we all grew up with and loved. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm a snob, I'm going to get just Mirage Studios stuff. And then I read that and I'm going, oh no, there's no real line here, is there? There's no clear, I can't just say, nope, I'm only getting Mirage Studios, because there's no way I'm not throwing a Bebop and Rocksteady in my collection eventually when they get to it. Oh, good Lord, I need something stronger than tea. And now the final maybe is the Mezco Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I love the looks of these things. They are a combination of Mirage Studios and Playmates. Playmates because the turtles each have different skin color like the original Playmates toys did, and they all have different color bandanas, again, like the original Playmates toys did. But Mirage Studios and everything else, like they're sculpted, like they came straight off the Mirage Studios comic book, except for this little Mezcofication higher shell, which really screws with the aesthetic for me for whatever reason. It just throws it off in my brain. But that could just be me. Anywho, the reason they're a maybe and not a yes, I will take them now is one, I still don't have a Mezco in my hand to decide if I think they're pretty cool or not. And two, Neca, is going to come out with more Mirage Studios Turtles. And frankly, I'm going to go pretty nuts with Neca this year. And so I know I'll end up with those turtles whenever they get released. And so when it comes to the Mesco version, they've got to prove that they're worth the money to me. So it'll depend a lot on what they come with and their sizing. And their sizing does kind of concern me because Mesco, while they say they're 1/12, they're not true 1/12. They actually scale much larger than 1/12. And so my concern is these turtles would be more like 6 inches instead of 5 or 5.5 inches tall. And that would just make it so they just didn't fit in with my stuff. So yeah, there's that. When I say maybe, folks, I really mean maybe. You know those people that say maybe when they're deciding whether or not they're going to go to something and you know that their maybe means no? My maybes always mean maybe because I'm just not sure. And now, for the things I saw that I know I will be adding to the collection this year, and if I haven't made it abundantly clear yet, it is NECA's Mirage Studios Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, that whole line is pretty sweet. I can't wait to see the full reveal for Casey Jones. The Utron, my goodness, man, I saw that thing and I just was like, that is cool. And I'm not usually a fan of the paint to make things look metallic, but they look like they did a really good job with that. And Fugitoid looks like they did a phenomenal job with that. And yeah, I've been wanting to get back into Turtles for quite a while, but nobody was making something that was right for me, for what I like when it comes to this stuff. And now I'm looking at NECA, who decided, hey, let's go nuts on comics. And now that's looking like the stuff that I need to have. I mean, I always thought if I get sucked back into Turtles, it's going to be because of the Mirage Studios stuff. And it looks like the Archie stuff too. But the Mirage Studios stuff, for sure, I'm in on. I don't want to say I'm all in because I don't like to be all in on anything. But right now, from what I've seen, I'm all in. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have at least 4 more characters revealed sometime in the not too distant future that I'll be in for as well. So there you have it. Those are the things I noticed, the things that I thought looked cool, the things that I might be picking up, and the things that I'm definitely picking up from Toy Fair 2022. At least this first weekend of it, because, whew, it's really going to go for a while, isn't it? So that was it for this first weekend and then a few days of things I noticed from Toy Fair 2022. And I say first weekend because we still have the classified team to present and McFarlane's presenting next weekend. So I'm sure I'll have plenty to talk about with those, especially with classified. Really digging that line. Anywho, comment below. Let me know what you thought of the figures I talked about. And let me know some of the figures that you're excited about that you saw maybe over this past weekend. Let's have a chat. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy ourselves in the comments, you know? Hey, I don't know where any of that came from. So, there it is, folks. Like, subscribe if you dug the content, if you dug today's video, and have fun. And happy snapping. See ya.